Last Pint Productions presents the New Way podcast. The New Way contains adult content, including the space goes down, down, baby, down, down, the roller coaster, sweet, sweet, baby, sweet, sweet, don't let me go, shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, rock, shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, rock. I met a girlfriend, a Triscuit. She said, a Triscuit, a biscuit, ice cream, soda pop, vanilla on the top, ooh, Shalita, walking down the street 10 times a week. I mean it, I said it, I stole my mama's credit, I'm cool, I'm hot, sock you in the stomach 3 more times. Listener discretion is advised.
I want to spend the night with you.
Do you mean sleep over?
Yeah.
Okay. But I get to be on top.
See that girl over there in the red? Say hi to her and she's yours. She'll wrap her legs around you so tight you'll be begging for mercy.
Well, I'll stay away from her then.
Yes?
Yes?
I don't get it.
Everybody wants to be naked and famous. Everybody wants to be just like me. I'm naked.
Will you help teach me about this? What is it? A new way?
Hello, and welcome back to. We've been gone for a whole week, and I'm sure everyone missed us. This is, of course, the New Way podcast, brought to you by Last Pint Productions in Boynton Beach, Florida. The podcast where we take deep dives into topics about pop culture, movies, music, video games, theater, you name it. We're going to talk about it, and kind of we're going to rape your eardrums a little bit.
Finally, we've reached the musical episode. I stayed up every night till 5 a.m. getting my songs right.
No, that's not. That's
hold
not.
on.
That's not tonight.
Wait.
That's not tonight.
That's not. I thought tonight was the musical, the vaunted musical episode.
No, this is that was
that's
some of the zany
then
ad-libbing you can find here on
What
the
a
New Way.
hysterical bit!
It's not a bit. I stayed up all night making a Beetlejuice musical.
Play your first song.
Well, I emailed it to
No,
you.
I mean
Didn't you have it ready?
just sing it right now, a cappella.
My name is Beetle, you sing the...
Okay, obviously, it is pretty good. It is pretty good. I gotta say,
it's true.
It's better with the echo.
Sold.
That's
I
pretty
put it through GarageBand. Thank
Beth
you.
loves it, so that's okay.
Well, I'm unprepared for this week's episode. What are we talking about?
That comes next week.
We'll get there. I wanted to go over so unfortunately in the week and a half between our podcast, there were 3 notable, at least for me, 3 notable deaths that I did kind of want to talk about. Some people who
I'm
passed
assuming
away.
that Ricky is one of them, right?
Ricky is one of them, but
This is our new thing.
So
Mourning our
first
heroes.
I'm going to do is William Goldman, writer of my favorite movie of all time, The Princess Bride, and he wrote the book. Also, and I looked up a lot of stuff because I've forgotten how much. I mean, he was a pretty prolific screenwriter and book writer. But I mean, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, All the President's Men, Marathon Man, Misery, Chaplin, Maverick, and then there's some clunkers. The Dreamcatcher's not one of the better
Quite
ones.
a few clunkers, actually.
But
Dreamcatcher.
Anytime you have that long or that storied of a career, you're always going to have a few clunkers. I mean, Spielberg has clunkers.
Sure.
I mean, it is what it is.
Well, and he wrote a movie that I used to watch a bunch in the 90s because it was on HBO a lot, called Memoirs of an Invisible Man with Chevy Chase and Daryl Hannah, which is a really kind of
It's based on the book by Ralph Ellison, right?
No, we did that joke before.
I personally do that joke before?
absolutely did a Ralph Waldo Emerson Invisible Man joke.
Hey, everyone,
before.
I can make an Invisible Man reference.
Not only that, Nick made an Invisible Man joke during Mission Impossible 3, right before Lawrence Fishburne was about to make the same joke in Mission Impossible 3.
That's what I knew. I had what it takes.
With some Inception-y issues right there. But yeah, William Goldman, incredible writer. And like, not only that, he was
if he wrote Dreamcatcher.
he was a script doctor in The Last Action Hero. He gets special thanks in Good Will Hunting from the writers of Good Will Hunting, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, because he's fucking great. So William Goldman, I definitely want to talk about. Ben mentioned the other one, Ricky Jay. And Ricky Jay, for those of you who don't know, you've seen him in many things. He was
One
in
of the
Deadwood.
great voices of
Yes. narrated
cinema.
Brothers Bloom, narrated the opening of Magnolia. He's in a bunch of almost all of David Mamet's movies.
Almost all of them. I mean, everything I think made
He's
after
great.
1999 he was in. He was in
Spanish Prisoner was the first one, which was 96.
Yeah, you're right.
And I love, and that's probably my favorite of his. Actually, I think it was
Spanish
the first
Prisoner
one I
is
saw.
great.
It's a great movie.
He actually wasn't in the Winslow Boy. Now that I think about it.
No, he was in episodes of X Files.
Because he wasn't British. That's why he wasn't in the
True.
Winslow Boy.
And he was busy casting Rebecca Pigeon and
Do you know who
everything.
Ricky Jay is?
No, wait, when you said Winslow's, I go Family Matters immediately.
No. So he's a bearded gentleman, but he was a magician.
You would
you know him from the Magic
would,
Castle.
You would know him if you saw him, but he's one of the most famous. He is was considered the greatest sleight of hand magician of all time.
He won
Maybe I do know
awards
him.
for Mamet directed a one-man show of him called Ricky Jay and His 52 Assistants. A card mechanic like I've never seen before. And amazing. And that's where I learned about him through magic first, and then he started showing up in movies.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's that magician.
He started getting cast in movies just kind of randomly, and then he became like a second career for him. And he was good friends with David Mamet, so he was in, I think, pretty much from Spanish Prisoner on.
Almost every
aside
Mamet,
from
yeah.
the Winslow Boy, I'm pretty sure he had a role in every
He's
single.
in State and Maine. He's
Julia Stiles' dad in
Yeah.
State and Maine. He's one of the crew members in Heist.
He's in Boogie Nights. He's in almost all of Paul Thomas Anderson's stuff as well.
Yeah,
Or
he's in
a
a
good
bunch
chunk
of
of
PTC.
it.
Yeah.
Two-timing on Mamet with P.T. Anderson.
Yeah, well,
That's a triangle for you.
I mean, that's an incredible couple of director-writers to be kind of like thought of well.
he had that very very particular voice.
Yes.
but like
Were you doing a
kind of a
were you
little
doing
bit
a
like a
voice there?
bad
It's kind of a
version.
hard voice to
It's
mimic
very
because it's not.
It's super idiosyncratic. It's like kind of.
It's high. Yeah, it's a lot. It's like got a little
It's
bit
gravelly
of,
but high pitched.
Very high, yeah.
It's almost like a 14-year-old who's going through puberty but smoked 19 packs of cigarettes for 60 years.
Yeah, a little young Nicholson in there. Like it's
Yes,
definitely that higher register kind of like it.
But
it's
still
it's-
that kind of
Yeah.
gravelly thing.
It was-
You know?
Can we
was
do
great.
an episode where we just all impersonate like obscure celebrities?
Ricky
need
Jay
to
was
practice
the other
those.
thing is like I really don't feel like I thought he was older than he was.
He's pretty only in his like 50s.
He died at 62.
62.
I think.
Yeah,
Ricky
late-
Jay could be like a NASCAR driver name, or like the one hit wonder that the kids are listening to right now. That's not going to have another hit.
Oh, is that the Ricky Jay album?
Yeah.
I heard that. That shit's
Ricky
fire.
Jay song.
I was just waiting for somebody to make. Yeah, I'm Ricky Jay, bitch.
No, that's
joke,
all you.
but-
That's
Well,
all you.
and then there was a third one, and this one hurts a lot as well. Bernardo Bertolucci passed away on Monday. Now, some of you may not know Bernardo Bertolucci, and he's a very famous art house kind of director. He directed The Dreamers, which is a fucking phenomenally.
Well, that was one of his most
Great
recent.
fucking-
But,
yeah.
you know, I mean, if you want to talk about his quintessential movies, you want to talk about Last
Emperor.
Last
Last Tango in Paris.
Tango in Paris. I mean, he was part of the. Essentially, he was on the latter end of the new wave of independent film directors.
I didn't prefer the later films of the Emperor
I was sure
trilogy.
you were going to make a new way joke. I was positive that's where you were going. I
Well, you
tossed
think
it
I
right
go
to
left,
you.
I go right. The guy zig, I go zag, baby.
Well, now I'm a fan because
Wasn't
he was a
Christian
fan
Bale
of
in that?
nudity. Of no, you're thinking of the
Empire of the Sun?
Empire of the Sun.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, no, he was a very big fan of nudity in his films, including Stealing Beauty, which has
Samesies.
Liv Tyler and Rachel Weisz naked in it. Which I mean, any man that can make that happen on film gets my respect.
He definitely introduced me to Ava Green.
Every inch of Ava
Well,
Green.
didn't Steven Tyler do that in all of his music videos, basically?
Man, that's sort of close. True.
Touche.
No,
own
Bertolucci
father.
was one of those like literally. I don't even know how I wound up going to see The Dreamers. It happened to be playing at the Little Theater in Abacoa when it came out. I actually saw that in the theater.
It's
and it fucking-
2004. Yeah,
It
great movie.
blew my fucking mind. Like that. That's definitely one of.
Had you,
Not your
not
load?
had you not seen Last Tango, or you
No.
hadn't seen Last Emperor?
I'd seen Stealing Beauty. I had not seen. I had not seen The Dreamers.
Interesting. Yeah, he was a very. He also had a very kind of varied filmography when it came to quality, but definitely had an artistic vision that he stuck to, and was very committed to his artistic, to the artistic side of filmmaking, and so that's
Yeah.
and was a lover of cinema. and classic cinema.
Well, and I mean, that's the Dreamers' whole backdrop is, I mean, it's this French Revolutionary time, but it's also like cinema, the burgeoning kind of like cinema movement as well. But if you haven't seen it, I mean, that one really affected me, and I think it's a good gateway for his movies. Maybe not, I don't know, but it worked for me. I was not into those kind of movies that much then.
But don't take his word for it. Ba-dun-dun.
I thought it was great.
Didn't Bertolucci also do La Dolce Vita? I'm pretty sure he did.
Might have. I know Once Upon a Time in the West and Last Tango and Last Emperor. No other last.
Did anybody related to comic books die? I can chime in if somebody... Okay.
Actually, but I agree with you. I own The Dreamers, mostly because I really love all of the performances in that movie
Everybody's
so much.
fucking Michael Pitt is...
Well, I that was where I was like, I would cast Michael Pitt in any movie I ever did, ever, because I thought he was that good in that movie, and I thought he was great in almost everything I saw after that. I thought he was great.
the little bit that he could keep him in line on set.
Right. I thought he was great in Boardwalk and Last Days and all of that sort of stuff.
Hannibal.
And
Mason Verger was fucking great. Mason Verger.
I haven't watched Hannibal, but
he could have saved the Wraith if only if he had been on their radar.
Michael Pitt was, I think, would have been my age during the Wraith. He could have played maybe the brother that was not cast probably well in that movie. But yeah, there were those unfortunate three deaths that we had in the past there. Just want to make sure we gave a shout out to those folks. Now, also, Ben brought my attention to something because the Bud saga, for those of you that listened to the last episode, continues on to this day, and it's only
an enduring saga.
It's only growing with time. Now, the first interesting part of the Bud saga was, Ben, why don't you tell this story?
Well, for those who have listened to the last podcast,
Bud didn't die, did he?
Should we play them? That this is an ad that Bud's put out.
Seafood. Let's go fishing.
On the inside, crispy and golden on the outside.
Buds.
Chicken fingers.
So we played that, and we wanted a deep dive with that, and then the next night we get a text from Ben.
Well, so I had never been to Bud's Chicken and Seafood. My wife and I had never discussed going to Bud's Chicken and Seafood. I was literally on the interstate, I-95 northbound.
And she had not heard the podcast because it had not aired yet.
She had not heard the podcast.
You don't discuss business at home.
We had not discussed what had happened on that podcast.
Business.
What's discussed on the podcast stays on the podcast.
And our
until
three
it gets
listeners.
out to literally tens of listeners.
I'm talking with Beth on the phone. She calls and she asks what we're having for dinner, and I say what we're having for dinner, what I was planning on making, and she goes, "Okay." I was like, "Is there something else that you want? I mean, like, should we pick something up, or it's up to you?"
And she said,
"Buds." But no, she asked, "Have you ever been to Bud's Chicken and Seafood?" I was like, and she thought I was having a stroke in the car because I was just like, why are you asking me about Buds? I've never talked about Buds ever until literally the night previous to that. And
she's watching you.
And she's like, so she didn't understand why I was like, and I was just like, it's so weird that you're bringing that up. Is that what you want? She says, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. So for the first time ever, the night after we recorded that,
I would like to sample the chicken fingers.
We actually didn't get the fingers that night.
That's your first mistake.
Chicken fingers.
He's isolated them.
Hey, listen.
My God, he's isolated.
I'm not saying I didn't give my wife a finger quickie later.
A number 3, you mean? So, by the way, they call them chicken finger quickies. And why?
Do they say it on the sign? Does it say finger quickie?
It says finger quickie.
It's so gross.
I sent you the video of me going through the drive-thru.
I didn't think it was really
you
a
didn't
thing.
look at it? It says chicken quickie.
Yes. Anyways, so
oh God, it's so gross.
It's disgusting. But anyways, so we just got the fried chicken meal or whatever. I brought it home. Girls loved it. My wife loved it. They don't have a single thing that's green on the menu. They don't have fucking green beans. And so then Beth was trying to write in and be like, I want green beans, and accidentally just sent them an email that just said hi. It's become this like ongoing thing. Guess what we ate on Sunday for lunch right before I watched football? Buds.
So
you know
went
what?
to the Buds in Lake Worth.
Do you know what?
And this time we did get a quickie, and it was excellent.
Yeah.
Did your wife enjoy the quickie? Was she satisfied by the quickie?
Let's face it, she never gets anything but a quickie.
Do you know what Nick and Kevin and I ate after the Civil Society Beer Fest? Buds.
You got it.
We got like the full.
So you had a three-way.
We got a full-way session.
You had a 3-way quickie.
We got a chicken orgy.
You had the 14-piece.
Mine was a chicky 60-minute. And it was amazing. But now, so then Ben sends me this video, and I had forgotten we watched one other video that night, Nick, that we forgot to share, and it is
You're
too
gonna
good.
talk about that in the
It is
podcast?
too good not to share on here. So I'm gonna play you just. You're gonna hear a good amount of this one, but this is a Buds rap that they did. It has some of the most amazing lyrics I've ever heard.
I went down this deep
What's
dive
the
on my
matter?
own.
What's going-
Here we go.
AJ, Bird, what's the matter? What's going on?
I can't get comfortable. I can't sleep. I got a lot on my mind.
Just think of things that make you happy, like Bud's chicken and seafood.
When she says cod, I
Jay,
lose
they
it.
got all the things you love. They got corn fritters. They have chicken
How old is this woman?
fingers. They have cod. They have great French fries. They have coleslaw.
What?
French fries.
What?
beans.
French fries?
Don't
Great.
forget, they do have the herbs.
Here we go. Yep.
But I do.
Me too, because we love Bud's chicken and seafood. When we're hungry, we're always
Fuck
in the
you!
mood. Shout out on Bud's chicken and seafood. Since I was a kid, I've always been in love with the delicious food chain they call Bud's. They're baked beans, mashed potatoes, and corn fritters.
Okay, so guys, can you turn it down for a second? You do understand that this is kind of a joke, right?
Yes, but
Because this is Jason from the
Yes,
KVJ
yes.
show. It is actually a thing.
but
It's
we're
a
gonna
bit.
we're gonna miss the best rhyme on
Okay.
here.
There's a fried shrimp too. Bud's has the cod. Bud's is the cod that will rock your bar. Bud's
God damn it.
that will rock your bar. You'll feel like a pimp when you eat their shrimp.
That's the best line.
Anyway,
Do you guys think?
Jason from the KVJ show is already a funny guy, and that is actually his mom. That is actually his mom in that video.
Serious question. Could you guys have sexual intercourse to that song?
I could have sex to anything.
is there buds involved? Because definitely then, but just for the buds.
I mean,
You feel like
You
a
joke,
pimp
but-
when you eat their shrimp.
I don't know.
Feel like, man, when you eat that shrimp, that is that's some lyricism. That
But I
never
just like
heard.
how his mom just enunciates the wrong part of the word. She's like, they got corn fritters.
They got great French fries.
They got French fries.
It's funny you misheard that the same way when you first heard it because you're like great French fries. What are
Gravy-
great
gravy
great
French-
French fries
What French fries?
and the cod.
And cod.
A lot of
So
cod
funny.
talk going on in that one.
I gotta try that cod.
But yeah, I think getting to our main topic of
They call that the cod piece, the number 5.
now that we've covered the deaths and buds, it's time to which are our normal beginning segments of the show as the last couple episodes.
Wow.
New
Tradition.
we are going to get into our main topic, which is I kind of left this a little loose and open for us to talk about because I want
Don't take that bait.
to kind of go around, but basically talking about talkback culture and kind of how the internet plays a part of how you view and consume entertainment, basically, and how does that affect
On the TV.
or on wherever, whether it's in a movie theater or wherever it is, how is everything that you have access to on the internet and who you're hearing from and what you're hearing, how does that affect or help or enrich your viewing experience and where are you going? And this is sort of a follow-up to a podcast that
Hold on a second.
I heard a bubble.
I heard something. I don't know.
Is it the cod?
I'm not sure. I don't see where the sound came from, but you know what? It's coming through that's why I sort of wanted to test. It's not coming through here.
Oh, okay.
You know what?
Okay.
I'll carry the show. You
Never
guys
mind.
figure it out, and I'll talk about talkback culture. You know what I think is interesting? I
on.
consume a lot of media on my phone, and I wonder.
you know what? I'll
if
make
you-
this work.
What's happening now?
You take.
I was
this.
carrying the show. So, serious question, Benny. Would you say in a week you're a busy father of 2,
Yes.
got a busy career?
Yes.
At the end of the day, at the end of the week, have you consumed more media on a film screen, a television screen, or a smart screen like your cell phone or iPad? I would argue maybe it's digital.
It depends on what you mean by media. If you're talking about like anything that's
Trailers,
actually
clips.
I would say.
I mean, like screen time. What wins? Probably computer. And
I would
TV.
say it's probably a tie between computer and TV.
Well, that's very different than it used to be.
Oh, sure.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there we
Uh-oh.
go.
We have something happening here.
So,
hello. You're on the new way.
Nerd rope, motherfucker.
Whoa! The callback. I love it.
Wow.
I believe that we have a
What a shocking surprise.
What a shocking
what an
surprise.
amazing turn of events.
yes.
Oh my god.
That pause where we were just wondering what was going on a second ago had nothing to do with this individual who was calling in.
No, we're really bad at radio,
We're just-
and we
yeah.
just didn't know what to say
You know,
next.
So Nick had to carry the show for 35
Thank God Ryan
seconds.
called and saved us from ourselves.
Of course. So, wait, by the way, who are we speaking to right now? Who is this?
This is Ryan from Houston.
Ryan from Houston.
Ryan from Houston, first time, long time, I assume.
Yeah, I'm like Candyman. If you say my name 3 times and offer free beer, I show up.
Wait. So hold on a second.
Candyman with the nerd rope.
I'm assuming, Ryan, you're calling in to claim your free civil society from Matt.
100%. That's
You know
literally
what?
the only reason I'm here.
I have a bright pink colored civil society with your name on it, or soon to be your name on it. That will be we'll get it to you. However,
Bright pink civil society seems
It's a
like
passion fruit fresh.
it's a passion fruit fresh, and it is
That was my
literally.
nickname in high school.
Yeah, it looks kind of amazing. I got to be honest. It's one of the most shockingly colored beers I've ever seen in my life.
It definitely looks like something like it's either the color of those little cakes that they put in like the urinals. That's the that's the color of this beer.
I've never seen a urinal that color. That's like it's like a Fraggle color.
Can I drink my beer without you guys comparing it to what we see in a toilet?
All right, listen,
for just a
I
second.
said
This is
Fraggle
what I'm
hair.
trying to do.
Fraggle hair.
Y'all started talking about cakes and the
Fraggle
fat
hair, I
kid
heard
got
you.
excited. I was real pumped about zebra cakes or something.
Oh no.
Zebra
Little
cakes.
Debbie.
Urinal cakes.
Ooh.
But hey, so so Ryan, who we've mentioned on the podcast before, is a listener, and has made his way through probably way too many episodes,
Which
of the
is
podcast.
amazing. Thank you so much for listening,
So
Ryan.
yeah, so first off,
Way too many.
Hey, hold on, Ryan, real quick. Swiss cake rolls or zebra cakes? You can only
Zebra
pick
cakes.
one. Okay. Zebra cakes. All
Zebra
right.
cakes or oatmeal sandwiches?
No.
No?
Oatmeal cream pies.
Yeah, oatmeal cream
Shocker.
pies. Yeah.
I'm totally with
Yeah.
Matt and Ryan on
yeah,
this.
they're fucking the best.
Yeah, the giant oatmeal cream pie is
Yeah.
like,
Haven't you not seen Honey I Shrunk the Kids when they find the giant one out there? And I'm like,
true.
this is my life. This is
I
what I
want to
want.
feed my pet ant that giant oatmeal cream pie.
And they all died of diabetes.
but anyway,
Ain't nobody gonna diabetes today.
So Ryan, we're today we're kind of talking about like talkback culture, movie culture, stuff like that. You've listened to the podcast for a while, so but before like I want we won't keep you for very long, but what is given that you've listened this long, I'm assuming that you're a fan of like movies and pop culture, whatever. And I think I prompted you kind of loosely, and I said, hey, if you're gonna call in at some point, think of a good movie story or the reason why you're a fan of stuff. So why
And
don't
your
you
favorite host and why?
Yeah, and then your favorite host among us, your favorite. We already know Nerd Rope, motherfucker.
Society for you. Don't forget.
We already know Nerd Rope is your favorite tag that we do here.
Me too.
But yeah, we want to know a little bit about you, and so that way next time when you show up, we can properly
Love you long time.
properly lovely.
I don't know where Ben's going with this. I had to bail him out of that, though.
There you go.
He just started getting all dreamy-eyed.
Let's learn about Ryan. Top 3 movies. Let's start there.
Ooh.
Let's start there. Yeah, start with top 3 movies, and then you actually I think you even said if we asked you that you might list 16.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's tough.
But
I feel like
Let's make it
Ben's
18
gonna-
then.
But the movie story too is.
How about
is
your
what I
top
think
3
about.
adult movies? Oh.
whatever.
Caller
is
still
the
there? No.
45-second clip. There's so many questions right now. Off the top of my head, favorite movies. I'm gonna go Tombstone, Snatch, and let's go with a wild card, Mighty Ducks.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm gonna get along with Ryan.
That's my childhood. So I got to go Mighty Ducks.
Ryan, it's 55 degrees in Boynton Beach right now, and I almost wore my Goldberg jersey to the studio today.
My wife
Well, that's
my wife had known Ryan for like 30 seconds and was like, I really like Ryan. Every single other person that she ever met at Wakefest or at Beer Festival is just like, I don't like that guy. Ryan's like the one guy that stood out. It's just like, I like him. I could hang out with him.
I also think Ryan and Greg would be instant best friends based on those movie choices I just heard.
To all the rest of Ben's beer friends, his wife only liked Ryan. Just wanted to make sure you all got that last part.
I want a T-shirt that says that.
Nice. I'll get working on that.
That's
Ryan.
actually a good shirt for Wakefest. You're coming to Wakefest again?
So I'm not coming to Wakefest, but I am going to be in town for another beer festival that's that same weekend. So I will be in. I don't know. Is it pronounced Dania Beach? Dania Beach?
Dania.
Yeah.
Three Close Sons. Enough.
Oh, Three Sons. Okay.
Great Dania.
Yeah. So
like Dania McKellar that played Winnie Cooper.
She's also a mathematician.
She is.
Yeah. We're getting ahead of ourselves. I need to talk about my favorite host.
Ooh.
And it's Matt because we're both Hufflepuffs.
There it
okay,
is.
Ryan, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to jump in here. Listen, I am a certified Hufflepuff. And however, now hold on a second. I've been to the J.K. Rowling website and I've taken it 10 times, always Hufflepuff. But Matt loves to say that sometimes he's Slytherin, like the hat that he purchased on his counter at this very moment, Ryan.
Hey, Nick, do you have any
He doesn't rep Hufflepuff.
Nick, do you have a Batman? Do you have a Batman shirt?
I have several Batman
Who's your
shirts.
favorite superhero?
Well, I also
who do you empathize most with? Who do you relate most to as a superhero?
Clearly, Spider-Man.
Okay, but you say you're Batman. You dress up as Batman.
I don't.
You do.
I don't pretend that I relate more to him, and you do
You
pretend.
dressed up.
You
You
pretend
dressed
you
up.
relate to Slytherin more. It's a front.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You're talking about Halloween, okay? You can dress
boy.
whatever you
This is
want to be
getting
for Halloween.
way
Oh,
too
boy.
serious.
No.
Listen, Ryan.
First of all, according to Pottermore, I'm a Ravenclaw. So this
See,
is we're all
there he
fucked
goes.
anyway.
Ryan, he's all over the place. He's not a Hufflepuff.
Do you know how many? I'm a nerd, Nick. Do you know how many sorting tests I've taken in my life? Fucking 100. I don't know what the fuck I am. I know the one thing I'm not is Gryffindor. It's the only one I never get. I'm never a fucking Gryffindor.
Well, if they make a movie about it, it will at least be better than the second Fantastic
I'm the
Beasts.
one that goes in there and says, you know what? I don't subscribe to your 4-party house system. I want to make something new out
Well,
of this
Ryan
shit.
wants a Hufflepuff, so
Well, anyways, I could talk some about the Harry Potter play I just saw this past week, but Ryan's on the phone right now, so I'm not going to do that.
move on.
Jealous.
When is Wakefest? When are we going to see Ryan?
It is, by the way, the age of Hufflepuff, just
First
so
weekend
Ryan
of
knows.
February. First weekend of February.
At Rowling has said is the age of Hufflepuff right now.
Well, we're gonna work something
This
out.
is my
with
time
Ryan.
to shine.
It is, man. This is your thing.
Ryan. Before we let you go, so what's the
We're
funniest?
not letting him go. Why are
best
you
movie?
pushing him off here so
No,
fast?
Well, no.
We're talking to Ryan the whole podcast. This
Okay.
podcast has been relabeled episode 75, The Ryan Show.
The Ryan Show.
Starring Ryan.
where we talk over Ryan at every turn and we hold him hostage for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
There we go. Ryan, you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, Ryan.
No, it's fine.
We never had a caller.
Ryan, we're gonna give you an uninterrupted 120 seconds to talk anything movie related you want to. Any opinion you want to share right now.
It's like you've won Hot Ones.
One hot ones. Okay, so I'm going to go with the topic that I was given. So I think about why I like movies, why I kind of got into the whole thing. And if we're being very honest, my parents were the type that operated under if you're going to watch a PG-13 movie, if you're going to watch an R movie, we're watching it first.
Yeah.
My
I know that one.
dad had blinders for movies like Caddyshack or Stripes, things like that.
Similarly
So,
afflicted here. They're nice.
Porky's,
Oh.
those types. So I quickly, once I got into my quote unquote formative years, as we start talking about adult movies again, I realized that I could watch those movies and get to see boobs.
Yes.
Yep.
He's so much more like Matt than you even
care.
realize.
You are if you listen to our first episode, literally the very first episode we ever recorded of this, you will hear my exact same description of why Tom Hanks is my favorite actor, because as a kid on Cinemax, he was in both Splash and Bachelor Party, which had the first boobs I ever saw, and I was like, this guy is a fucking genius. Like, he's always in the movie with boobs, and it's great.
Funny that you bring up Tom Hanks.
Ooh.
I was watching Big with my girlfriend over the weekend.
Yes.
And the scene where he's finally getting to do what every 13-year-old boy wants to do, you know, she starts to take off her. Yeah, she starts to take off her shirt, and I looked at my girlfriend and I said, "It's a pink bra." And she kind of judged me.
It is.
And I said, "Kristen, let's not act like this scene didn't get paused so many times."
The VHS was blurred in a couple frames.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what?
Matt worked at Blockbuster. He could probably attest to that.
Ryan,
a lot of
so
movies
are you
returned
saying,
at the good
hold
moments.
on a second. So Ryan, did they have sex in that scene? I feel like I've talked to people about this.
It's implied that they had sex right afterwards. Yeah,
It's
they would show it's a PG
but
movie.
He was such a man. He didn't know. I'm not convinced they actually had sex.
He gets up in the morning and he's like high-fiving the mailman, and he's driving his car through the plate. He got laid. He did the morning after laid walk.
I did that the first time I held hands with a girl in college.
I'm not saying they had sex, but I guarantee you it got touched until it went soft.
All
what?
right.
Oh my God!
Jesus. I think that's more accurate.
I am so turned on right now.
Matt poo-pooed me, but Ryan knows what I'm talking about. I'm not convinced that Tom Hanks had sex in that movie.
You think Elizabeth Perkins didn't fuck that night?
Oh,
you think she didn't go there to fuck, and that's what she was gonna do? And they
because
fucked.
a big like powerful career woman wants to fuck a man child.
The whole point of the movie is he grows up too fast. He grows up too fast, and
they always do.
And the sex
It's
part
probably
is
not the only thing he did too fast.
Yeah. Get this man a contract.
Yeah, we gotta get this guy in the show. Oh man, you brought up.
Awesome.
By the way, you brought up a good point that I want the gentleman here to prepare in the studio. So you say the pink bra moment, right? And the girlfriend says it. I want you guys to think of a moment you've been watching a movie with a girl and you've said something out of character, geeky about what you're seeing, and you couldn't control yourself. It just came out, and then you're like, oh. I feel a little
17 years of my life.
Every interaction I've ever had with a woman,
because that is such a like. As soon as you said pink bra, I could see her face, and then your face of like, oh no, should not have said that.
Well, no, she's pretty understanding. We've had multiple conversations where she's turned to me and just said, "You realize that you're Andy Dwyer, right?" And I think she means it as a compliment. I'm going to take it like that.
Hey, Chris Pratt, man. Chris Pratt.
I take that as a compliment. Andy's the best.
But I don't think she thinks I'm like the ripped Jurassic Park Chris Pratt. I think she thinks I'm the type that has to take off my pants when I get sweaty. Andy Dwyer.
Fall down a ditch. Well, you also had a great song about that little horse. Always with the one-liners.
Little Sebastian.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, guess what we're drinking right now?
We're about to drink.
Beer.
Jägerbomb.
Some double dry hop Ghost in the Machine.
I have some of that at a buddy's house that I have to go pick up.
Oh, nice.
I haven't done so yet because I'm lazy.
I'm gonna pour it audibly.
I think that we probably cut you off though. So you were saying, before
I'm a baby brother, so I'm used to getting cut off. That's fine.
Yeah.
Me too.
So basically, I got to exploit that loophole of boobs, which great loophole.
Loophole.
That through that loophole, I started falling in love with movies like Caddyshack, and my dad's favorite thing, even prior to that, his favorite thing to make me do at family events was he thought it was the greatest that I would reenact the Black Knight scene from
Monty Python.
Nice. And 8-year-old me is going through just a bunch of scratch in the middle of a family event, and my dad's looking back on it might have had an alcohol problem. He's hammered and thinks it's the funniest thing on the face of the planet. So again, as a baby brother, I realize also that people will laugh at me and I will be the center of attention
Oof.
if I do these things. So it's kind of twofold where
Resonates.
I get two things that I want all the time: boobs and attention. And I've decided that movies is the way to get those things.
You just
Still,
sounded like my
bravo.
breakthrough with my therapist. Like, you just want boobs and attention. Like, yeah, yes, all of that.
I'm a simple man.
And also Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
And free beer.
Yeah,
And free beer.
good deal, man. Wow. So, do you mind me asking how old you are?
I am 36 years old.
Okay, so I thought I was
Same
thinking
age.
you were closer to my age because you were watching some of those movies like way.
So was I. I mean,
Way young.
that was exactly the same thing. Like I remember
We're talking about Ryan now, Ben.
Well, no, but I was gonna say because Ryan and I think are a lot alike because I did the exact same thing where my dad would let me watch.
You're not
these
a
movies,
Hufflepuff.
like Amazon Women from the Moon, The Naked Gun, but even some more racier stuff
Yeah.
that came earlier, Kentucky Fried Movie and stuff like that.
Debbie Does Dallas.
Debbie Does Dallas.
Listen, he made a Debbie
Enter
Does
Through the
Dallas.
Green Door.
I am clearly the most like Ryan out of the room. All right, we're both Hufflepuffs. He made a Debbie Does Dallas
Shut up,
reference.
Ryan's mine, Nick.
Next podcast,
He likes attention.
scrap the musical episode. Next podcast, we're gonna discuss who's the most like Ryan.
I am the most like Ryan. It's,
The boy
it's clear.
is mine.
I like this topic.
Fight to the death.
But yeah, I had the same thing where I would act out like entire sequences from Holy Grail, from Spaceballs, or from Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
and because if somebody started laughing, I would just keep on.
And your
keeping
mom
on.
was more like strict on your stuff than your dad.
My mom was very
Yeah.
strict, and my dad was not.
My parents.
Sure.
Neither of my
I
parents
think
cared.
my dad was strict because my mom made him be strict. I'm 100% certain of that.
I still remember even after I got started to see PG-13 movies, when my mom first started letting me rent them, I was probably 9 or 10 years old, and I was watching Tremors, and my mom just kept walking through the room at like inopportune moments when they would curse, and she'd be like, "This is just garbage. It's just garbage." Whatever. I was like, "It's a PG-13 movie. It's not rated R. It's fine," or whatever. She's like, "If they say one more bad word or whatever," and of course she walks right through the room where he's just like, "We killed it. Fuck you," and she goes, "Okay, it's turning." She literally like ripped it out of the thing, stuck it back, was like, "I'm taking this back to Blockbuster." I was like,
Well, that's
fuck.
similar. Like I went and saw what was it? Antonio Banderas,
Desperado. Oh
I went-
God.
I went-
Shit, yeah.
I went and saw
Movie
that with
broke my
dad,
dick.
and we were both excited. And then it gets into the most ridiculous softcore sex scene.
Yeah.
So many candles and so many spurs. It doesn't make any sense.
It's so many guns that look like guitars, and
It's the greatest sex scene ever. I thought
Again,
that was what sex was going to be
it's,
like.
it's boobs. It's awesome, but I'm watching it with my dad, and it's super awkward. So I'm, not looking, but very much looking, trying to see as much of that as I can.
It's Salma Hayek. I mean, how could you not?
Everyone's
Yeah,
looking.
looking
If your
back at
mom
it
had been
now,
watching,
you
she'd
know,
be looking.
20 years ago, it was weird. Looking back at it now, my dad was probably like, "Sweet boobs," like
Bonus.
And this
we're
year,
the same. Yeah.
this year, Ben's mom watched Tremors with the girls for Thanksgiving break, so it's all full circle.
Now, Ryan, do you have kids?
No.
Okay.
I am a kid.
Well, okay. So Ben, you're dealing
Ryan,
with this
will you
with the
be
girls.
my papa?
Do you think you or Beth is going to be more restrictive over what the girls watch?
Definitely Beth.
Definitely Beth.
Yeah. I've already let them watch stuff that Beth would not let them watch.
Oh shit! Like what?
I don't think she would have let them watch some stuff like E.T. and stuff like that, like as early as I did. I let
Even the
Lu-
version with the walkie-talkie.
when Margot, one of the weird times when Margot was sick and Luna wasn't, and because Luna is the one who likes to watch the movies, Margot was asleep and Luna watched the entirety of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh.
And I would not. Beth would not. have
No, that
approved
probably
of that.
wouldn't.
Luckily, she doesn't listen to our podcast.
But Luna's
See,
going to love our
I have
podcast.
nephews, and they're not quite old enough for me to let them start watching stuff like that, to be the cool uncle yet. But the 11-year-old,
He's like,
just
they're 1.5.
reading. Yeah, exactly.
Just give him a year.
The 3-year-old did not get the intricacies of Blazing Saddles. The nuance was lost on him completely. But the 11-year-old did just start reading Harry Potter.
Ooh,
And
wow, that's exciting.
It's like my proudest moment ever.
Awesome.
Now,
That's great.
do you have a movie from your childhood, Ryan, that you watched or a scene, something you watched that your tiny childhood brain just couldn't really wrap their head around it until you got to be older, and then you kind of all of a sudden the scene made sense to you. Did you have anything like that?
Actually, now that I think about it, and this probably wasn't as much super young childhood, but again, watching Big, there was a scene where, you know, they first go back and they jump on the trampolines and she wants to sleep over and he says, I get top bunk.
I get to be on top.
Yeah.
I get to be on top.
She's laying down in the bed, and I turned to my girlfriend. I said, I just now realized that she was 100% going to, like, she's down to cheat on that dude she's dating. Like,
Kevin McAllister's dad.
Yep. It sure is,
and
Kevin.
this time I was like, what is happening? And then there's the whole, like, the guy she cheats on starts talking about her lewd and lascivious activities with other people in the office. I'm like, wait a minute, I missed this whole underscore that she gets around.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're saying that she doesn't sleep with him? She doesn't know that he's a kid.
Now, my theory is that she didn't. She tried to, and all of the clear cuts. Well, hear me out. All the clear cut. She's waving him in, right, with the landing gear, and he's just still a kid.
Okay.
He doesn't know it, and she for once enjoys a night being close to a man without having sexual intercourse.
She already did that earlier in the movie. No?
Let Nick finish his point first.
He's going to yell at me.
No,
you hear this, Ryan?
I'm not going to yell at you.
Actually,
I actually want you to save your point, because after we do the podcast about who's most like Ryan, I want to talk about the sexuality in Big and just do an entire podcast on
I
that.
think that Elizabeth
This
Perkins...
episode is going to be called the Big Ryan episode. That's I've decided it. It's going to be Big Ryan.
I think they absolutely tried to have sex. I'm going to go on record as saying that grown Tom, as a 13-year-old mentally, wasn't able to physically make it all the way to consummating.
Yes, he didn't know what he was doing.
Yes.
So he's saying he couldn't get a boner. I think he can get a boner. He's got a man dick.
It went away real quick.
Suck it to me one more time.
He proves he has a man dick in the beginning of the movie when he opens up his underoos when he's Tom Hanks and he goes, then he snaps him shut in shock.
Well, of course he had a man dick.
He got a boner, but that he
was it a boner or just a larger penis?
13-year-old boys have when they first get in those situations.
He's saying
I remember when I
get PE involved.
Oh, so you're saying that he didn't even make it to the event; it just happened ahead of time.
Too.
Okay,
it still stays my narrative.
She's smiling quite a bit the next day for that to happen.
Well, yeah, she
right,
thought
because
she was really good.
She had the first night where she wasn't just a sex object, and they connected on a.
You mean the night where the guy came all over her before they had sex? That was the night that was a connection.
That's Ryan's theory.
Maybe that's the night that she found out that he was a giver.
I didn't say on Chesil Beach, and there'll be a complete.
I remember when I got my man dick.
Jesus.
When you turned 13.
This is automatically
my bar mitzvah.
When you turn 13. You're a man now.
Okay, mine
I
didn't
got
come
my
in.
Tom Hanks dick. I got my Tom Hanks dick.
My Hanks didn't come in until I was 23, but I was a late bloomer, and it was wonderful when it happened. I cannot wait to finish this podcast and Google, did Tom Hanks fuck that lady in Big? Because someone has to have had this conversation.
There's got to be a dissertation on this somewhere.
I say no. I'm with Ryan.
But here's the question. Here's the ultimate question. Is she on a sex offenders list for that relationship?
Another salient
She
point.
doesn't know he lied to her, but she did not ask for ID.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you that
it's the
not
80s.
Knowing isn't a defense.
I think it was the freewheeling 80s. I think she got away with it. I think she got away with it.
Pedophilia is good in the 80s. All right.
I mean, by the way, the postscript on that movie, the damage done to that woman and to that kid, the sequel
it's
to it
irreparable.
would be the most awful movie ever.
It's irreparable. Yeah.
It's on par with all those stories you see about the science teacher having the threesomes with the 14-year-olds.
But it's worse because she doesn't actually know he's a kid, and then at the end she finds out, oh, this guy either who came on me or I had a nice night with or who I had sex with.
Ryan never said that
one of
these
three things happened. I had some moment with him.
Ryan, you never said that Tom Hanks came on Elizabeth Perkins. He said that
he finished.
He said that's all he said. I'm clarifying. You're putting words in his mouth. You're putting words in his mouth.
All I'm saying is we don't see it, so we have no idea where it went.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Ryan, your civil society's in the mail.
Ryan's getting a couple of cans off of this 100%.
We've been talking about boobs. You know how much I love a couple of cans.
Well, you and Matt do have that in common.
Oh my God,
Ryan,
holy
this has been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I cannot undersell how amazing this was.
And we'll look forward to having you here in person.
Yeah,
I
man.
will be there. What did we say? The first weekend of February?
Yep, I think it's first weekend of February.
We'll get it on the books and we'll
How
get
about,
you in studio.
Are you busy on February 14th? We can all go out to dinner. I know a really great place.
We'll all go to Riggins. We'll share some crab.
We'll all take our shirts off and show our bras and find out what happens.
It's pink.
I'm here for that. You know how much I would love to do that.
All right, man.
Awesome,
Thank
man.
you so much for calling in, Ryan. And we'll definitely record with you, and we'll send you some civil in the mail. And anyone else out there listening, that's all it takes. Just tell us some really embarrassing things and discuss Tom Hanks' sex at length, and you get free civil society.
And Ryan, do you want the 6 wallet size or the 10 by 11 signed glossy photo?
Can I have a 10 by 11 and 2 wallet size?
Sure thing.
We're going to get all 3 of us. We're going to actually take this picture tonight for you.
Let's go to Sears.
All right. Thank you so much, Ryan. We'll talk to you later.
Dude.
Absolutely. Y'all have a good night.
All right,
Bye-bye.
see you. I know once Ryan hangs up, though, I have to give Ryan also just some personal props. Ryan lives in Houston. My sister is getting cancer treatment in Houston. And he took $100 worth of barbecue to my family.
Holy cow.
In the hospital. So, Ryan, you're probably not on the line right now, but I fucking love that guy, and that's one of the reasons why I definitely I not only feel a kinship with him, but
Sure.
he's a super super awesome dude, and just said if there's anything your family ever needs when they're in Houston, just let me know.
We have open door policy here for you on New Way time.
Please be at least as entertaining as Ryan.
No. I mean, open doors for him.
We're talking about Ryan only.
We have a few special people that get the open door invite, but yeah, Ryan, anytime you want to get on here and spar, let's do it. I don't even really know how to transition.
No, well, that's why I wanted to do it.
It was
at
great
that
talking
point.
back to each other there, wasn't it? Sorry. I feel like we really created a good culture in this room.
Culture.
Yeah,
A talkback culture, if you will.
It's a culture room.
it is a culture.
It's like a club almost.
The culture room is in Fort Lauderdale, but
Yeah, man. Got that.
Well, you're a karma chameleon. But you
So,
are.
well, and what's kind of interesting about this, I think we can spin this how we want to spin it, but kind of talking to Ryan again is about that why we started this podcast. Maybe that kind of can be a little bit about what this is about. Is that I think very much for me, part of the enjoyment of films is either sharing or films, movies, TV, whatever it is sharing it with other people and learning from other people what they got out of something specifically. So, like, we just spent 20 minutes talking about Big, right? You okay there?
Yep. Keep going.
I don't know what's happening over here.
Go ahead, keep talking.
Okay.
Keep talking, don't mind me.
Are you unzipping your pants?
No, I'm just...
Oh my God.
I have no idea what's going on.
Nick was so moved by... but anyway...
He's actually moving. Okay.
So
I'm listening though.
So I think it's kind of interesting to part of what I really enjoy about kind of the talkback culture. Well, what I love and I hate about it at the same time is that you get to see other opinions on things that you're watching or you're consuming. Yeah. And specifically for me, one of the things I wanted to talk about on this podcast was it's not really talkback culture, but it's kind of where movie reviewing has gone as a whole, which is to recaps. And it's not necessarily always, it's a mixture of a review and an explanation of what you watched. And one of my favorites is done actually in audio and video form, which is Ozzy Man doing his recaps of Game of Thrones.
Right. Well,
which is a little different.
It is a little different because, I mean, obviously you're talking about something that's
produced.
Well, not only produced, but it's very stylized and comedic. And the thing is I think that, I mean, a lot of times, like, especially with Ozyman, most of the stuff that somebody like Ozyman does is all funny. And then he has Game of Thrones, which he's obviously super passionate about. He does the funny part, and then he actually does the recap.
Which is I think which is really, really interesting about it.
But so the thing that I equate this to, and one of the things that I just think is hysterical, that you have a trailer that gets released, for example, by like A24 Films or somebody or whatever. And so say that trailer in the first 4 days of being available on the internet gets 4 million views.
Yep.
A prominent YouTube celebrity posts a reaction video of them watching and reacting to that video, and they get 2.5 million views. And that is, I think, really interesting. It's definitely, there's a culture, I think, that is changed with the way that we absorb popular media. And I think a lot of that's evolved from the fact that I think when we were younger, I guess I should say, that there were definitely subsects of kind of nerdiness. There were like people who were totally into sci-fi and stuff like that. And I feel like in the 90s, especially, there started to become this cross culture where popular media began to subsect with some of these like other, what was considered a nerdy medium, or with comic book films, or with sci-fi, or with even horror and that type of thing. It's like things that were obviously kind of not created for, but were enjoyed by a small subsect of people, became a much more expansive thing. And so then all of a sudden you had people who were interested in sort of this things that they weren't interested in before. I mean, people who were interested in comics that weren't interested in comics before, that type of thing. And I think what that allowed, as the expansion of technology and things like that, and as the culture of conversation began to grow on the internet, and the way that we all react to one another on, with statuses and updates and things along those lines, was I think it created a culture where people were automatically interested in just not hearing what the New York Times or what A.O. Scott had to say about a movie, but more of kind of like, I'm a real person. Like, I'm somebody who you talk with about other stuff.
Sure.
Here's this nerdy thing I'm into. Here's what I think about that.
No, and I think you're dead on it. And where I kind of I broke it down into sort of like 6 different six different ways this presents itself, and you hit on a couple of them there. But there's just standard reviews, right? You can read a review by someone that's on a publication. There are like dissertations or essays on things, right? That are more deep dives, similar to what we do when we talk about something, right? You've got famous people's reactions, which is always kind of one of my favorites. Like you've brought up a couple of times, like Quentin Tarantino's like top 5 or top 10 list or anything like that.
Yeah, my favorite list of Tarantino's was he's like top 13 movies I would have directed.
Yes,
if I had I wish I had directed.
Yeah, and that is super fascinating to me. Of all the ones, that was one that I'd probably go with. Then you've got industry buzz, which is just basically what you've heard, and that's where I kind of want to get Nick's take on this a little bit, since he's informed me a lot of times about things that I'm interested or looking forward to, and he goes, "Oh, I know someone that worked on that," or "I know someone that was involved in that production," and he gives me a little bit of insight to it. And then there's
I don't like the name drop.
And then there's recaps and talkbacks, which is the only one that really happens after the fact. Most of the stuff we're talking about right now are previewing, and we covered some of that in our hype thing. But then there's also what happens after you've watched something. What informs your opinion? And I'm curious, maybe Ben, we've sort of had this question before, but have you ever watched something and after you either liked it or didn't like it, and then after you watch it, you read or consume someone else's opinion, and it sort of changed your mind a little bit?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. Matt's going to do that with the quote-unquote sex scene in Big.
It's not going to happen.
Right, definitely fucked.
That really does
he didn't.
That really happens all the time to me. It's not so much... It's not so much that it will change my entire opinion, but sometimes somebody will bring a perspective or like a take on a certain thing of being like, this is what this means. And I'll just be like, oh, how the fuck did I miss that? Like, that is so obvious. Like, I still remember when I read one of the movies I saw, when I saw Richard Kelly's The Box in the theaters.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was just completely baffled by some of the choices that they made in that movie, which I'm still baffled by a lot of the choices they made in the movie. I don't think
so is Richard Kelly.
And I don't think it's a good movie
Yeah.
necessarily. But afterwards, I read this breakdown of kind of like how it's the Trinity and like there are these different components. And I was just like, this is the fucking Bible. Like that movie is basically the Bible. And I was just a portion of the Bible. And I was like, holy shit. And I didn't realize that it was like that. Besides the characterization of the people in it, it was almost verbatim like what happened in a portion of the Bible. And I was
some
like,
dude had to cut his son in half. It was really reminiscent.
It's similar, but I think that's fascinating.
There's an
because
ark and some animals.
Because it's what's interesting about that is that it doesn't mean that the film is better than you thought it was necessarily.
But
sometimes it is, and I think there are times where you watch and you're like, oh, I missed a layer of it that really makes this make a lot of sense.
Well, you were saying Twin Peaks, the new Twin Peaks revival. That's a perfect example for you, Matt.
Well, this is here's where it's interesting to see where the line is with this, right? So you look at something like The Box and you say, okay, there was a layer to The Box I didn't see. But the movie as a whole still doesn't necessarily work, right?
We're as opposed to like No Country for Old Men, which is a movie that I don't particularly love or like, but I don't think they made a misstep. The Coen brothers didn't make a misstep in making that movie. It's a masterpiece. I just don't personally like it.
Yeah.
But I can acknowledge.
But you'll call it a masterpiece? You didn't like it, and you'll call it a masterpiece?
Absolutely.
Wow.
You know what? And
that's interesting to me. If I didn't like something, I don't care how many people call it a masterpiece. I won't call it that.
I'm not even saying other people, but I can watch it now and I can understand why.
Well, sure.
What it brought to the medium, and why it is such an incredible film. I would call it an incredible film that I don't particularly love.
Isn't that a useful skill?
I'm also
not necessarily agreeing with someone, but looking at all sides and just kind of being open to different perspectives.
Okay.
So
touche.
I got a little open-ended there, but
see,
keep going.
I'm honestly that way about 2001. Like 2001's not anywhere close to my favorite sci-fi movie of all time, but I recognize what it brought to the medium, and I recognize why it's so important.
Well, yeah.
Well, see, I had never seen that until actually like 5 years ago, less than even. And the first time I saw it was at the ArcLight Cinerama Dome. And they had an intermission, like the Hateful Eight screen that you guys saw here,
right?
And I think that made a big difference in how I enjoyed that film. I know it doesn't have anything to do with the topic, but I just wanted to bring that out.
It absolutely does.
No, and that's and you mentioned Twin Peaks, and that was a really tough one for me because Lynch has also done this to me before. He did it to me with Mulholland Drive, where I watched Mulholland Drive and I went, "It's a piece of shit." I don't fucking understand anything.
It had boobs in it. You were happy.
I liked a couple of performances, but I had no narrative interest in the movie, and I flat out did not understand anything that was happening.
Is Mulholland Drive in the Twin Peaks universe? Was that ever?
No, it's not. No, the only one there's
Fire
one
Walk with Me for sure.
There's a couple that are actually he's lined up with after the fact when he did the series that now
that's what
line
I thought.
up.
That's what
but
I thought.
I don't think that's one of them. But
I know a lot of the Jarmusch movies are in the same universe or are supposed to occur in the same.
I know
universe.
what it was. It was going to be a Twin Peaks movie, and it got nixed, and he took a lot of the elements and made it Mulholland.
It was gonna be its own TV show. He was gonna do a TV show called Mulholland Drive. They got midway through production and they said no, and he goes, "Okay, I'm gonna turn it into a movie." And he rewrote how it was, and he wrote this idea that it's this fever dream movie. But I didn't get it. And the same with Twin Peaks.
That Monkey Man jump scare up at the dumpster is still the worst jump scare.
Things,
yes, thank you.
The most frightening things I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you.
Thank you. All Lynch movies have that sort of. I mean, like Inland Empire is a scary movie.
Well, it's all of his. It's all the the sound design he does in that is so purposefully
and the lighting and the
just
framing.
Weird.
It's all weird.
And he pulls some moments like that in Twin Peaks, that I really liked in the series where like he does these spotlight moments, which when it was in the original show, when the fucking spotlight came on, it was Bob. Or it was something. I literally just got goosebumps thinking of the spotlight. And there's a scene of a kid playing in a backyard at night, and all of a sudden the spotlight comes on, and he just lets it sit there for like 4 minutes, following this kid around, and you're just like fucking terrorized by it,
right?
And nothing fucking
so
happens.
Effective.
And I realized that almost all of Lynch's Twin Peaks series on Showtime was like his art house dissertation on a gazillion fucking things. It was his feelings on movies. It was his feeling on the original series. It had nothing to do with Twin Peaks. And it took me a long time, probably 10 episodes into it, to realize he's not doing Twin Peaks. The only way he could do this opus that he wanted to do was by slapping the name Twin Peaks on it and setting in that universe. But it's not Twin Peaks. It is not.
But you gain that appreciation and perspective from vigilantly.
I read a guy on Entertainment Weekly. He would do twice a week write-ups on the show. He'd write one within like a few hours of watching it and then be like, I need a couple days. And then he would come back on Wednesday with like a 5-page breakdown of like, here's what this shot was paying homage to, and here's what this, and here's all this. And at times you think that it's a little bit too pretentious or whatever. But then I really started to study into it. I'm like, this is like film school. Like literally watching that show and reading those things was like going to a class for me. That doesn't necessarily make it the most enjoyable experience
or
while
even
it's happening,
because you're watching one person's,
Well, I know, but then I also got into talkbacks as well, and I'd start reading where people disagreed or agreed with that, and I think that's where you get in these deep dives with certain things. It's really interesting because I'm taking one person's interpretation, but I also am watching other people react to his interpretation.
Can I say one thing about one of the reasons why I
I'm keeping track. Don't go off on a tangent, so help me God.
One of the reasons why I went to film school at FSU, as opposed to some of the other places that I had applied to, is that
Fate. You couldn't have been in the greatest rock band of this or any generation.
That's true.
If you had not gone there.
But
Nerd rope, motherfucker.
But one of the things that I was coming from a seminar-based school. In high school, where I was super well prepared for college, at least from a liberal arts standpoint, where everything was seminar-based. Everything was a bunch of people sitting in a circle, disagreeing and agreeing and talking about movies and pop culture and literature and all of that type of thing. I mean, that's where I came from.
Deja vu.
That's where I was already there. And one of the things that FSU said is that, like, we want people who are... want to be storytellers but don't have any idea about technical things, and we want to teach them the technical side. They're like, we want to put a camera in their hands and we want to do this type of thing.
That's what I need.
We are not a theory school. We're not there for people to just sit around and disagree or agree with one another about a certain movie or a certain topic or that type of thing. We want it to be very production based, which only a couple of schools actually really were at that point in 2000, 2001. A lot of schools, even Columbia at that point, was very, like, you took 2 years of theory before you ever got a camera in your hand.
Is that where Spider-Man went?
I don't know. I don't remember where he went.
Didn't he go to Columbia?
Anyways. I don't know. I don't remember. But anyways, I found that very attractive. That was just like, oh, it's not about theory. You learn theory, but you learn theory while you have a camera in your hands and you're being a part of it. Anyways, all that kind of comes back to is that I'd had enough of kind of sitting in a room arguing with people about movies, and I was just like, oh yeah, let's learn some shit. Like put a camera in our hands, let's make mistakes, let's go do stuff. And I think it's actually kind of funny also at this point that it's come full circle, and now I'm sitting in a room arguing about movies.
Talking about movies. Well, and for you, Nick, you've worked in the industry and you've got a lot of friends in the industry. So how does that affect when you hear about a movie? You're hearing about a movie while it's being made, and you're hearing kind of the back talk on it, the back channels on it. Does that affect your interest in the property?
Peter Parker went to Empire State University.
Okay,
I wanted to clear that up. The only time that really affects me is if I kind of hear some horror story behind the scenes. That will definitely color my opinion or even want to support a film or not. And obviously, I want to support the work that my friends are on. But a lot of times, you'll hear a story through the grapevine, through a friend of a friend, about a terrible production or them treating the crew terribly, and I don't want to see that movie, no matter what it's about. And from that angle, yes, that could affect me. But I kind of want to go back to what you were saying about Twin Peaks and how you especially the remake, and that appreciation was a little better for you with those outlets, with the forums and with these articles. I think that there's definitely no Lost without Twin Peaks. And Lost is the only show that I've ever watched, week to week, where I went on dedicated forums and talked with nerds saying, what do you think this meant? Like, what the fuck is the smoke monster? Like, where is this going? And that was still to this day, the only show that I was every week checking up on people's theories
and like
and
Reddit
entertaining
and
them
all over the place, right?
And now it's a little more casual with Reddit. But I mean, I went right after the episode. I went straight to the forum live, saying like, oh my god, we're freaking out. Like, what was that about? What's gonna happen? And that created a not a culture, but it made it more event television. And it's a big reason why Lost has such a warm place in my heart, despite whatever you two fuckers say about it. I remember not just enjoying it and looking forward to it, but then also looking forward to like cutting it up with all those nerds online.
Well, so I have the same experience though, but it was with movies, like with Cloverfield and like with I'll
do you one better. Our pilot that Ben and I worked on, Dream Writers, was majorly influenced by Lost, and specifically by the talkback culture and about how people were consuming television in 2008, 2009, when we were writing it. The names of every fucking character in that show literally telegraph, either through biblical or Greek background or whatever it is, telegraph major plot points for them, because we're like, we want fucking nerds to sit and obsess about this detail or that thing.
And also just the big thing of saying, hey, we want an end before we ever really start. Like we want to come up with this.
I mean, and Lost was probably the king for me as well. Lost was where I got into the IMDb boards, which fuck R.I.P. the IMDb boards. I miss
IMDb,
the IMDb talk, the forums on TV shows. IMDb.
There you go.
Enunciation. I miss those forums more than anything. They were my favorites.
You used to go to the Ain't It Cool forums too.
Ain't It Cool? I would read the reviews. I hated the talkback on Ain't It Cool, but
because they sucked.
But the IMDb forums, typically, what I liked about IMDb is someone would pose a question, like I did it with Mulholland Drive. What is the meaning behind Mulholland Drive? And somebody, like the third or fourth person, would have this long fucking post, and it's like, here's where it is. Here's what happened in her real storyline. Here's what happened when she went into her heroin overdose. Here's when she dies. Here's how the entire movie lays out linearly. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking amazing. This is amazing.
Yeah, well, for 2007 to 2012, my continued film education was all through Rotten Tomatoes. And in all of the forums there. R.I.P.
Yeah,
haven't been around for 2 years
until they took down the IMDb forums on my IMDb page. At the bottom, you could talk about people too.
Oh yeah,
always.
And one of my asshole friends, I'll never find out who exactly it was. That was a major post that is Nick Sanacroce gay, and then under 3 different names, go, yeah, I heard that too. And I go, oh yeah, I heard that. I saw him out with a bunch of dudes last week. Oh yeah, I saw him too. It was like a thread of like 10 responses.
I saw him with Bryan Singer last week.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. So, yeah.
Wait.
R.I.P. IMDb.
Hold on a second. So is Nick Sanacroce gay?
You'll never know.
God damn it, IMDb.
Unless you play your cards
fucking
right.
Great. I was devastated when they got rid of those forums. I still am. I have to go to recaps and go to this other shit, but I love that forum.
But the thing is, you brought up Reddit. Reddit is so cool because there's a subreddit for literally anything that you want to talk about, movie, television, or
we are making a subreddit about Big tonight.
Well, there is one, trust me, and that's where you want to. That's where you want to go to end this debate. But like every minor movie, television show that's ever been aired has its own dedicated subreddit, and not just people talking about it. But like super fans.
Yeah.
So you get a level of analysis and insight and passion that you might not have gotten on a general IMDb forum, which I think was a little more focused on
it was very the closest thing to what IMDb had is what's going on at Reddit. I do one with Reddit now for Penn and Teller Fool Us. There are these 2 magicians that write in every week when they watch. So those of you who don't know, Penn and Teller Fool Us is a show where Penn and Teller watch magicians do tricks, and if Penn and Teller can figure out how they did it, the guys lose, and if they can't figure out how they did it, they win a trophy and they get to perform with them. It's a fucking great idea, right? And so there's a forum there's a Reddit /r/Fool Us, And these two, a husband and wife magician. What's great is they play it like Penn and Teller. They're like, we can't rewind, we can't replay it, we can't do anything. We watch it exactly as they watch it, and they make their guesses, and then everyone else weighs in about how the trick was done and what they think. And it's fucking from a magician standpoint of how the technical work is behind it. It's amazing, and it's such a great supplement to that show. And it's one of those I'll watch an act, and I'll pause, and I'll fucking get on my iPad and top. And I worry though a little bit is that I feel like, as much as I'm getting out of the extra stuff, I'm also missing some of the just watch something all the way through and enjoy it, which is why I like our cold call, cold read episodes, because I don't do that. It's the only time I can't pause and be like, who's that actor? What else were they in? What do they do? All that. It's the only time I have to 100% watch this fully on there.
It's not the only time. You could just put down your fucking iPad and you could try that.
I have to know who that. Do you know how my face blind is? My face blindness. I don't remember people.
Matt and I start watching a video and it's paused 5 minutes into the film. Because we have to find out who the fuck that lady was, or like what song is playing in the background.
Well, like I said, I legitimately do have a problem recognizing people. And the famous story that my brother likes to tell is that I was watching the show The Americans, and The Americans is about these Russian spies that dress up as other people. And I swear to God, I thought there were two. I thought it was two guys and a girl that was like that were the leads of the show. That woman looks just
like Kerry Russell.
She I recognized because I know her well enough, but the guy I didn't.
From the 8 Days a Week days.
He was playing another. And I'm like. I was like, that dude with the mustache is funny. And he's like, what do you mean? Like the guy with the mustache is like, that's the fucking main, because it's her husband. It's her main character. You go, oh, that makes a lot more sense now. Like, I just didn't recognize him with a mustache. I couldn't in a wig.
Is that like a condition? Or
yeah, so there's a real bad version of it. So they make fun of it in Arrested Development. It's a real condition.
Really?
There's a thing called face blindness. For people that have it really bad, literally they can't function. They can't go to work, so they go to work every day and they don't recognize people.
So it's like everybody in the Superman universe.
I'm real close to being that bad. Like I'm really close. Like if
they heard the voice, they could think of it, right?
But if there are two brunettes, like two brunette women,
I like where you're going
or
with
two
this.
brunette gentlemen that are similar build, and they don't have different like clothing or hairstyle enough, I do not know which is which until I learn, unless I know who the actor or actress is. Like if I know who the person is, unless it's Paul Dano, who looks different in everything that he's ever in, and I'm not sure I always recognize exactly who he is. But yeah, I have a problem with that. So IMDb is good for that. So I could look up and be like, oh, that person is that character.
By the way, Paul Dano's new movie is supposed to be fucking amazing.
Have you watched Escape from Dannemora yet? No. Ben Stiller's show with Benicio del Toro, Patricia Arquette, and Paul Dano?
No.
It's fucking good. It's on Showtime. I highly recommend
Holy
it.
cow.
I just got an alert on my phone that says from HuffPost, after a recent airing of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the claymation version, viewers called out some disturbing details they hadn't noticed before. I'm going to read this. This is going to be our next topic. Can you imagine what could that possibly be? Talk about talkback culture. Jesus. What could be so bad?
Have you not seen that recently, dude?
Yeah, no. It's kind of messed up.
Really?
It's fucked up, dude.
That's not even the one with Heat Miser.
Did you see what happened with the Peanuts Thanksgiving special?
What?
So the Peanuts Thanksgiving special.
Peanuts?
Yeah, they realized that
not the Peanuts Thanksgiving special. Man.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna say, don't ruin that for me.
They placed the only African American character on the other side of the table from everyone else in a lawn chair, and everyone else is in good chairs, and there was a problem with that. So listen, everything you loved as a child is terrible and evil, except for Big. That movie is a goddamn masterpiece and a gem. But
and Tom Hanks totally got laid.
He did,
or came in his pants, or on Elizabeth Perkins.
Doesn't on or around?
Said that.
I think
you said that.
Ryan said around, on or around.
He said on or around.
If it's on tape,
it could be on.
If it's on tape,
he said on or around.
He said we don't know what happened. That's the whole point.
He said
we'll never know.
Yeah, you don't know. He said on or around.
And then can we get? Listen, I know we can't.
And then he did the Forrest Gump. He went, I'm sorry.
I know we can't get Tom Hanks.
It's good.
I know we can't get Tom Hanks on the podcast, but what is Elizabeth Perkins doing? Maybe she could shed some light on the subject.
Penny Marshall directed. Maybe we can get in touch with Penny Marshall and be like, so what happened on that? Is there a deleted scene? Is there something we should know?
Well, Tom was about to...
Oh, Ben is out there with the impressions today. Jesus
That was
Christ.
way better than his Ricky J.
I was about to say it was
Way better.
Ricky J.
I thought it was her. I thought she was in the room.
Oh, stop it. Oh, stop it.
Oh, but yeah, I think. Look, I think for everyone out there listening to this, I think if you're not supplementing a lot of the stuff that you watch with some sort of forum or at least talking to your friends stuff, I think you're missing out.
Even using social media like Instagram or Facebook or places like that. I mean, like I feel like people are using those as outlets to communicate about all sorts of different types of media, whether it's news or whatever. And so I always recommend, like, if somebody watches a movie they don't understand or if they don't think that they've gotten entirely, and I've even told like family members, go check the stuff out online. Like, just go read about this or read this article or you know, and especially like listen to what the actual filmmakers have to say too. And that's the other thing, that's the last bit that we've had so much access to over the last 20 years, is that there's been unprecedented access to the filmmaker, to the actors and actresses, and to the crew in a lot of cases.
Director commentaries in the first wave of DVDs.
Yeah, I miss it that there's less and less of the commentary happening, I think, unfortunately. But
that has to have a renaissance, man. It has to come back, because it was one of my favorite things.
Me too.
We were going to do a whole episode on that.
It was the first thing I almost always did after I got the DVD of a movie I'd already seen.
You watch it once, and then you watch
the director's commentary.
And you know what else? Like, I have great memories. And still, it's just such a big part of, like, going out to the movie, specifically, right? You go with a group, go with some friends, go with your mom, go with your dad. Like, you're excited for the movie, but I was always excited for, like, the grab coffee afterwards or, like, get dinner afterwards and everybody get in that round table and just talk about it.
Sure.
People will stay for the credits, and I mean, the Marvel movies are huge for that. The whole audience is still in their seats, kind of just hashing it out. We're not going to get up out of our seats until we get a couple points that have been floating around our heads out.
Well, and Marvel, I think, not only did they sort of popularize that as far as people have been doing it in certain movies, but Marvel's made it a fucking thing that now every movie kind of has to do it. But I love that Marvel also used it for a different reason with Infinity War, which I still think is the fucking smartest thing they did with that movie, which was no scene until the end. And and Russo brothers was, we want the movie to sit with you for the entirety of the credits. I want you to sit and fucking think about it and like, we didn't want to interrupt that thought process. We wanted it to happen all there. I thought that was such a fucking amazing use of them, like,
it would have felt
popularizing
tacky
a thing.
if they did that. We're
supposed to get a trailer here in the next couple of weeks.
Well, yeah, the first Infinity War came out. The trailer came out right after Thanksgiving, so everyone thought it was going to hit, and it didn't hit. I think it's gonna come out with Mary Poppins.
We're like Nebula reaching for the fruit that Drax says is not ripe yet. It's right there. Show it to us.
There's still a part of me that wants them to put a teaser in front of Mary Poppins that just says Avengers 4 Summer 2019.
Yeah.
And only clips from the first movies, and just be like, "Fuck you guys, you're gonna go see it," or that could be the trailer too. Fuck you, you're gonna go see it. We didn't bother to make a trailer.
Masterstroke by Kevin Feige.
Here's Paul Rudd riffing on what he thinks is going to happen in Avengers 4 for 2 minutes.
Well, not Paul Rudd.
Him playing every role.
It should not be Paul Rudd riffing.
Paul Lind.
Oh God.
I'm Iron Man.
Got all these gadgets.
Come on, Hulk. Come on out. I need your help.
I never had a suit that talked to me before. Talk about talkback culture. How about a talkback suit?
I should be Black Widow. I've killed every man I've ever been with.
Did you, Paul?
Touche.
Did you, Paul?
All right.
Dark.
Wonderful.
Well, this has been a roller coaster of emotions tonight. We hope you enjoyed this somewhat idiosyncratic episode.
Very idiosyncratic.
Okay, listen. The new way podcast drinking game. Anytime anyone says, especially Ben, idiosyncratic, take a drink.
Really? We said that before?
I said twice today.
In the past 2 episodes, I think we're at 5 idiosyncratics.
Really?
Go back. Oh yeah.
I actually think you're right about the last episode.
I don't think I've ever said that word before tonight's podcast. Me
Three
personally. Maybe
tonight,
it rubbed off on me.
Two last week.
Two tonight.
So
I think it rubbed off on me.
4 in 2 weeks.
What's the name of the band? There's a
Only
band
because
called
I-
Idiosyncratic Routine that's in a movie. It's a movie band.
I have no idea.
No,
It
that's
is
the
absolutely-
name of Joey Lauren Adams' comic book in.
Idios. That you are entirely correct.
Because I made that joke last week. And you
Holy
didn't give
cow!
me any
Did you just
attention.
get a Kevin Smith reference? That Matt
You
didn't
did-
get.
God,
first?
that's right. I knew
You
you
didn't
were
get
on
my
it.
joke
Holy
last
cow.
week. I said it, and no one reacted. I got real sad.
Idiosyncratic routine. Well, I was there the last episode. It was
All right, fair enough. Well, toasty,
toasty at the end of that
toasty.
episode. But yeah, Idiosyncratic routine is 100% her
I know.
comic. That's
I know.
amazing.
I know.
Wow.
Do you remember what?
Don't try to out trivia me now. We're gonna end the show. Thanks for joining
No,
us
no,
in
I
the
was-
new way.
I was on-
Next week, the musical episode. I'm really looking forward to
I
it.
honestly don't remember the name. I'm trying to remember the name of Dwight's comic book in it. It's the.
I don't remember.
Can't remember. Anyway,
And on a high note.
we thank you so much for listening to New Way. We thank Ryan so much for calling in. We need to get you back on here. I think you're the glue that holds this podcast together now. Sorry, Ben. You were the glue, but I think Ryan is now the new glue from Texas.
You're Elmer's, and Ryan is
So
the
it's
stuff
now-
that keeps the hard hat stuck to the.
He's
the
Gorilla
wooden
Glue.
plank.
The
Oh,
new glue
yeah.
from Last Pint Productions in Houston, Texas.
I need to find out if I can get Ryan to help record an intro for this. That would be really great.
You'll figure it out.
Anyway, we thank you so
Next
much.
week, the big episode.
big one. The big one.
Oh,
Pimp
next
it.
week is
Pimp it.
Yeah, it's like, basically set your DVRs. Make sure you record next week's New Way. It is our second annual musical episode. Ben, what musical are you penning right now?
The musical, The Shadow.
And Nicholas, what musical are you penning right now?
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
And I am doing Basketball, the musical. So I think we've got some conflicting genres here. I like our odds on this one, and maybe those of you out there take some bets on who you think's going to have the best musical, and let's see if you're right.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
snap.
if anyone wants to make a musical out of my original suggestions, feel free to do that too. I'd like some representation.
By the way, I wrote started lyrics for a couple of Teen Wolf songs, and it was like, and then for a half a second, I was trying to figure out how I could combine Teen Wolf and basketball, so that instead of playing basketball, he played basketball, and that was the sport that the
beautiful
wolf
bastard.
invented. And I thought I'm biting off more than I can
well,
chew.
thank you for at least just saying that right here and now. I appreciate that, buddy.
I tried. I did write a little of the Boof song, so
That's great.
Anyway,
Hey, one more nerd rope motherfucker for our.
oh yeah,
our
that's
buddy
right.
Ryan.
This is his favorite. We
Ryan,
need
this
a
was for
21
you, buddy.
nerd rope salute.
That's
Nice.
two, right? Not really 21 times. Just two. Yeah.
All right.
We have to go back.
All right, we'll talk to you
All right,
next
guys.
week.
We have to go back.
Cheers.
Cheers.